Did you know there's 4 people in every relationship? By the end of this video, you will understand romance and relationships in a whole new way. Hey guys, it's JFO here with another Friday High Vibes video. And if you're new to my channel, welcome! My name is Jennifer Fricelli, but everyone calls me JFO. I have been reading birth charts and studying spirituality and self-help since I was 14 years old. I have so much information to share with you, so make sure to subscribe to my channel by clicking the subscribe button below and clicking the bell so you get notified every time I have a new video. So before I share the goods with you, why there's 4 people in every relationship, I want us to understand masculine and feminine energy the right way. I've had prior videos on this where I've taught the stages of astrology. The stages of astrology just follow the zodiac cycle. So it goes from Aries all the way to Pisces. It's really just our calendar. And the first 4 signs are the survival stage, then it goes the social stage, and then it goes the spiritual stage. And it's really following the evolution of a human. When you're born, all you care about is your survival needs. As you grow up, you start to form relationships, and then it's more of like, what's the meaning of life, right? I always say that astrology can be used as a syllabus, a structure to understand spiritual themes. So we're gonna use the spiritual stages of astrology to organize masculine and feminine energy. When you hear the word masculine, you're probably thinking of a man. And when you hear the word feminine, you're probably thinking of a woman. It's not like that. And that's where we get confused and tripped up. The reason is because when we say the word masculine or male, feminine or female, it's just words. And with those words come associations. And these associations and our attachment to these words block us from truly understanding what it means. So I've broken down sex and gender into these 3 categories. The first category, like I said, is the survival category. Survival is really more focused on tangible, physical, the immediate environment. So when we're talking about masculine and feminine from a survival perspective, we're obviously talking about gender. We're talking about your biology or your gender identity or both. It's so important that I honor my transgender community. And so I want you to understand that the difference between a biological male, female versus your gender identity, right? That's so important to honor here. We all know who we are between our 2 ears. Society might know us from a physical perspective, but we know us from a gender identity perspective. So when we're talking about sex and gender from a survival standpoint, that's more the physical body, how the world sees you, how the world sees your sex, how you dress, your biological gender, but then there's also your gender identity and what you believe you are in between your own 2 ears. When we're talking about sex and gender from a social perspective, we're talking about attraction and romantic roles. So when we're talking about attraction, it's who you're actually sexually attracted to, right? Male, female, or both. And when we're talking about romantic roles, that's a little bit different. If you haven't watched my video on my marriage tip, you're gonna wanna look that up because romantic roles is something I learned from Pat Allen. She's amazing. So she talks about in romance, you can't have equality, you need equity. Someone needs to be the pilot driving the plane, and someone needs to be the co-pilot. And once you're in a marriage, you can switch these roles on certain topics, but in the courting and dating phase, one of you has to be the masculine pilot and one of you has to be the feminine co-pilot for that equity, for that romance. So when we're talking about sex and gender, you could be a man who is attracted to another man, but you want to be the co-pilot. See how it goes? You gotta figure out your combination. And last but not least, we have masculine and feminine energy from a spiritual perspective. We've got the astrological or the personality masculine and feminine, and then we've got the spiritual masculine and feminine, the yin and yang. So when we're talking about masculine and feminine from an astrological perspective, so if I'm saying a masculine sign, all that means is it's a personality trait of someone who's going outward with their energy. Air signs and fire signs are masculine sides of the zodiac. They direct their energy outward. Feminine signs, water and earth, they direct their energy inward. So from that perspective, it's just a personality masculine and feminine trait. In terms of yin and yang, this is where it gets really fun. So I know that I've shared this before, but if you don't know about it, I have this thing called my 1, 2, 3, 4 method. It helps you understand the meaning of the universe in 4 numbers. It's really just following the elements of astrology in the order that they go in the zodiac cycle. There's Aries, fire energy, spiritual. Then there's Taurus, earth energy, physical. Then there's Gemini, air energy, mental. And then there's Cancer, water energy, emotional. And then we just repeat that same element cycle in the next stage. So what we learn from this is the creation process of the universe. Spiritual energy moves into physical form. We have a thought about it, we have an emotion about it, and we repeat the cycle. Inside my 1, 2, 3, 4 method, you have masculine and feminine energy on the external landscape. What is that? Spiritual energy, masculine, moving into physical form, feminine. And then you've got that same thing happening in the internal landscape. Your thought about it, masculine energy, creating an emotion about it, feminine energy. So this metaphysical masculine and feminine is very different, right? Now we're talking about the external relationship would be God and man, spiritual energy, or source, aka God, masculine. And then you've got feminine, physical, earth energy, Mother Nature. And then you have it internally as well. You have your thoughts, masculine, and your emotions, feminine. It's funny, a lot of people question why God is he, right? And what's interesting is for a long time, I was similar to some people and I would be like, well, that's ridiculous. Everything's masculine. Everything's masculine. Why is God not a she? Until I watched this course that Marianne Williamson taught. And she said, there's a reason God is he. And then it all clicked for me with my 1, 2, 3, 4 method, that all of us, no matter what your gender is, we are all feminine in the metaphysical standpoint. Physical energy is feminine. It's a receiving, it's vulnerable, it's surrendered, and it's receiving that masculine force of that energy, right? Like we don't know when we're gonna die. We're born and then we die. That's all we really know, right? But that force, that source energy, if you don't want to say the word God, you can use the word source, right? Source, that spiritual energy is masculine. And we as humans are feminine. Before I go into the really fun thing about why we have 4 people in every relationship, I want you to comment below. Did you learn anything from this? And also, in a romantic relationship, do you think you're the pilot or the co-pilot when you're dating? Okay, so now we're gonna dive in to some really cool things that I learned from Pat Allen, and she learned this from Carl Jung. It's called the anima and the animus. And what's so cool about this is it's really just my 1, 2, 3, 4 method. You're gonna see it. So Carl Jung had this theory that the animus is the unconscious masculine side of a woman, and the anima is the unconscious feminine side of a man. Isn't that super interesting? So let's talk about this. In every relationship, you have your masculine and feminine and your partner's masculine and feminine. And I wanna just say this, a big thing that Pat Allen talks about is when a man is an inside out man or a woman is an inside out woman. And let's talk about what that is. A woman is feminine on the outside and masculine on the inside. That's why we have the babies, because we're stronger inside. And a man is masculine on the outside and feminine on the inside. A man is going to be the hero, open the car door, put their coat around the woman, right? But they're coming from their feminine inside of this cherishing, caring energy. And for a woman, she's feminine on the outside. She's sexy, she's beautiful, she's surrendered, she's graceful. But internally, she's strong. Internally, she's masculine and she knows what she wants and she's not going to let a man break her boundaries. And she's going to respect her pilot, knowing that he's going to cherish his co-pilot. Masculine gets respected, feminine gets cherished. Now it gets confusing because your masculine wants to be respected and your feminine wants to be cherished, and vice versa, right? That's why there's 4 people in every relationship, and it can get super confusing if you're both narcissistic and you both want to be cherished and respected at the same time. Again, that's narcissistic. So let's talk about the inside out version of this. If a man is inside out, now all of a sudden he's feminine on the outside, not doing any heavy lifting, no opening of the car door, and he's masculine on the inside. He's coming from a very aggressive standpoint. Get me my beer. Where's the remote? Woman, clean the dishes. If a woman's inside out, now she's all of a sudden masculine on the outside. She's rolling her eyes, she's nagging, she's upset, she's angry. But inside, she's mush. She's feminine on the inside. She has no backbone. She's crying and whining. She's needy. And she wants her man to do all these things to make her feel better. Do you see what I'm saying here? So when you're understanding masculine and feminine energy, you first need to know what level you're dealing with. Survival, social, or spiritual. You have to get very clear on who you are in terms of these categories. And then you need to recognize that we all have that other part of us, right? If you're a woman, you do have that masculine side. If you're a man, you do have that feminine side. And when we're in our relationships, specifically romantic, recognize that there's always 4 people. Once you know that, I think you can do relationships a whole lot better. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please subscribe to my channel, comment below, share it with your friends, and of course, like the video. Come to www.highvibes@jfo.com to join me in my free e-course called Vibe School. We're gonna customize self-help for your personality, and it's all free. Remember, you are a star in the movie of your life. You have a special destiny that's unique to you. So keep shining your light, and I'll catch you next week on the High Vibe Show with JFO.
Home, rush to see if she called or even left a message for me in a flash. All alone.